So I just returned the GLA 45 at Mercedes HQ here. This is Mercedes HQ in Puchong here. And the other day, it was Keegan who picked up the GLA for me because I was still in Hanover for Continental. So now I returned the car and I get to drive Keegan's wagon. Yes, he has a Volvo wagon, a V50 wagon. I have an Audi wagon. And I'm going to review his wagon now without his permission. He only will know about this video after I put it up on YouTube. Alright, let's mount you guys here. As you know, when I mount a camera here, that means it doesn't have a sunroof or a moonroof whatsoever. Okay, I think you get to see me a little bit and the road. Let's get on with it. He has this sort of like the final batch of the Volvo V50. Okay, so about 10 years ago, Volvo launched the 40 series, S40, and then for the wagon they call it the V50. Okay, so this is the wagon version of the S40. And yeah, when this car debuted, it has a 2.5 liter turbocharged engine with 220 horsepower. It was sort of known as the 3 Series killer back then on the highway, because if you drive a 3 Series as 328, a 2.8 328, and you feel that you're very fast, and then behind comes this Volvo on the highway and you need to, bugger off. That was that era, okay? When 220 horsepower means a lot of things. Why? It was the era where 3-liter NA engines were the shitsness, and they make about 200 horsepower or 190. Yeah, that was that era. Okay, so a turbocharged 2.5, 220 horsepower car is fantastic. Not only that, this car, right, is priced at, the V50 T5, the 220 horsepower V50 T5 is priced at only 220 horsepower. RM 220,000. So for 220,000, you get 220 horsepower. That was again a big revelation back then, right? You get a lot of horsepower for the money that you pay for. 1,000 ringgit per horsepower. That was a bargain back then. Okay, and throughout the years, of course, Volvo keep updating their cars, because that was the era of Ford ownership, and the Americans. The only thing that they know when they fly over to Sweden is to see what can they cut cost, and then go back to report about their achievement by, cutting people or resources and all that. That's all they do in Sweden. Okay, very annoying, but they own the company nevertheless. So that was all of Ford's contribution during that era. Okay, and then Volvo has to make do with what they have. They have no choice, right? You have to listen to your bosses. So they just update their car. They keep updating them. So this is sort of like the last batch. Okay, this, even though it's a V50, at the back of it there is a Drive E logo, which means this car has the direct injection 2-liter NA engine that produces about 170 over horsepower. So it is a very powerful 2-liter NA. You think about it, a 2-liter naturally aspirated engine making about 170 over horsepower. Okay, and it feels torquey as well as it drives. I have no idea about the torque figures, but I believe it should be somewhere about, I don't know, 250 for a direct injection 2-liter NA engine. It should be about 250 Newton meters of torque. And how does it drive? Okay, it's a Volvo. Okay, I make no pretense about it. It's a Volvo. So what comes by default with Volvos are dead steering wheels that feels very safe, very easy to drive, but not exactly the kind of super communicative steering wheels that you get. And then Volvos of yore also means really big diameter steering wheels. Yeah, it's huge. The steering wheel, in the modern era, right, a car of this size, right, the steering wheel is anywhere 1.5 inch smaller. Oh, that's the new V40. It looks good. But this car is more comfortable than the V40, mind you. It's more spacious. Even though it's an older generation car, it's more spacious within. My first impression of driving it is that nothing about this car is intrusive to a person who got up the first time. Okay, this is my first time driving his car in a review manner, and I just find that everything is in place. I'm sitting here. I have excellent visibility. I can rest my palms here. Not a lot of cars have that. This is huge. So it's so thick that I can rest my entire forearm on the door. Okay, and the other thing is, I find everything is within reach. The sitting position is excellent. It's comfortable. Visibility is excellent, and I feel spacious and airy inside. Even though from the exterior, the car looks small in modern day terms. All right, if I park this car next to a Myvi, the Myvi will look damn bloated, like a puffer fish. All right, Myvi looks like puffer fish. Yeah. Anyway, how does the brakes feel? Now the brakes feel slightly weaker than I would like it to be, but it's very linear, very comfortable braking, and come on, don't come out. Yeah. And the car just goes smoothly. This car has a dual clutch gearbox, okay? But it has got to be the most dual clutch ever out there, because it is so smooth. This car, if I'm not wrong, is a 2011 car. Okay, it was brand new back in 2011. It should cost about 180 to 190,000 back in 2011, and it's a 7-year-old car or 8-year-old car. And but even now, the suspension feels fantastic. The gearbox is so smooth. It doesn't drive like a dual clutch. It drives like a normal torque converter. That's how it feels. And I like how it drives because it's just so smooth going. It feels as though they gave you a torque converter, but the marketing material was printed wrongly and says, okay, I can turn left now. And the marketing material says dual clutch. It feels as though it's like that because it's so smooth. It doesn't feel like a dual clutch at all. Yeah, that's quite interesting. All right, because given that Volvo and Ford is a family, and then Ford Focus has a dual clutch as well, and that gearbox just explodes whenever it wants it to, right? Yeah, I'm surprised with that. As for interior, NVH, I think it's very good, considering it's a car that has aged, right? First of all, it's super quiet inside here. It's very, very quiet. It's very pliant, but not the type of intuitive suspension where you not the type where Ford has, where you can fly over a speed bump and then come down like a rally car and the car will be perfectly fine. No, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like a Japanese car suspension, where it's pliant and comfortable most of the time, but you wouldn't want to throw it over a huge speed bump. Yeah, it feels like that. Okay, it's rather single dimensional. The suspension is moderately soft. That's it. Yeah. So it's a good balance, because Volvo back then, right? They have a distinct characteristic they want their cars to feel like. They never wanted their cars to feel sporty, so they are one of the last car makers to widely accept pedal shifters. Because they want people to drive safely, right? They want you to drive safely, and they wouldn't want you to have any sporting intentions with their cars. But of course, that's not what customers wanted. Nowadays, Volvo has a different strategy. They make their cars exciting to drive and powerful so that they can lure you into their brand so that they can protect you. That is Volvo's new strategy now, which started with the XC60 T6, a 300 horsepower SUV. Yeah, Volvo started that. Anyway, yeah, that's how it was. And other than that, the cabin looks very modest. This is the kind of car that predates all the iDrive infotainment system kind of stuff. And Volvo was rather late at developing their own in-car entertainment system because of Ford, right? But given the car of its age, right, it's a 2010 car, and it's only a 2-liter NA engine and all that, right? It comes with keyless entry and keyless start. I wouldn't call it keyless push start because it doesn't come with a push button like Porsche's. It comes with like a dummy key, and then you still have to twist to start the car. So you just walk near the car, you can open the doors, and then you can climb in and start the car. I think it is for European car makers, right? I think this is rather early for locally assembled cars with keyless entry and keyless start. So yeah, and I think this car now, the used car prices of this car is I mean, I think this car is a very good buy now if you're on a budget, you want a European car that isn't that troublesome. Seriously, this is sort of like the last batch, right? It's trouble-free. This car is trouble-free, okay? Because it's the last batch. They've sorted out everything they need to sort out. So, yeah. So I think this car is worth buying as a used car, as a used European premium car that is family oriented, that is comfortable for your family, and then you can carry things at the back. The boot is rather big, and it's decent. It has USB as well. My Audi doesn't have USB. There's something in there, and it has Bluetooth for playing music and your phone. So it's nice. It's decent, and yeah, good car, Keegan. A rather good car, and it's comfortable. The seats are excellent. The aircon works. Okay, the aircon never not work. Okay, it works, and it's nice to drive. And I can't tell from now, but what I heard from Keegan is that it's quite frugal. It is a very frugal car as well. So it's a good buy if you want a European wagon that isn't troublesome to own, and yeah. But of course, when you're buying parts, you're dealing with European car part prices, okay? Which I've made a video earlier on to give people a perspective. But a lot of Malaysians just don't. They don't read description, or they do not watch the entire video, or they watch the video but they don't really understand, but they couldn't be bothered about it. They thought I'm trying to make a video saying that European cars are cheaper to maintain than Japanese cars. Ugh, what to do with idiots? Well, again, why I did that video was because a lot of people don't have an idea of what prices are we talking about when it comes to European premium car ownership, right? Because they thought, oh, this part in my Toyota, it costs 300. In a BMW, I'm sure it should be about 4,000 or 5,000 ringgit. You know, they don't have an idea. They just heard horror stories. And because you're not informed, it's very easy for you to believe horror stories. So I just want to give a perspective to everyone that this is how much it costs for certain wear and tear parts, to give them an idea. And it isn't as crazy as they thought, you know. A part that is 300, maybe in a BMW could be 500. That's the only difference. And when it comes to servicing, it's even more similar Because a lot of Japanese or Asian cars, you have to service them every 5,000 km. But European cars, you service them 10,000 or 15,000. And for Volvos, you service them every 20,000 km. So you pay 4 times to service a Japanese car. You only pay 1 time servicing this. That, when you add up everything, right, it's cheaper to service this. And then when it comes to service, most of the time it's just the oil filter and the engine oil change. Oil filter costs how much? 60 ringgit. And then for the oil change, if you buy semi-synthetic, it will be semi-synthetic price. If you buy a fully synthetic, it will be fully synthetic price. So that's what I meant in that video. So I think this car is a good buy if you want a comfortable, relatively easy maintenance European car that drives comfortably on the highway. You see, this is the benefits of driving a premium European marque. When you're driving on the highway, they behave so differently. They behave so planted, and then most of them are very quiet. Their cabin is very comfortable and quiet. Alright? So, yeah. There you go. Yeah, dead steering. Dead steering. Parking. Thank you.
So Costa got discount today. You buy one and then the second one is 50% off. And that's what happens to Keegan's Costa coffee. You can, and this is his beautiful V50 with vanilla coffee flavored. So this is the last batch of the V50 direct injection engine, 2 litre, 170 horsepower with a dual clutch. And look at it with the coffee stain. Beautiful, huh? Now this car, when it was launched back then, right, it comes with a 2.5 litre 2.5 litre turbo engine, 220 horsepower, 220,000. It was known as the 3 Series killer back then because it was an era where there's not a lot of turbocharged cars, and Audi's 1.8 turbo only makes about 150 horsepower. So Audi has the lame duck turbo back then. But this guy here, I mean this V50, which is a damn good looking car in my opinion, back then, right, it makes 220 horsepower. But this is the final version, the Drive E engine. This is the 2011 car, and it's a 2 litre direct injection engine with 170 horsepower. Pretty okay, but I still like the design. The design looks just classic. Handsome car. This is the B pillar of this 2011 car. 2010. But actually, it goes back even further because this car was launched in 2005, if I'm not wrong. Look at the B pillar, look at the size of the B pillar. And it says there SIPS, Side Impact Protection System. Because this car, I mean, every Volvo is like that, right? Freaking strong body. Can you imagine how tough is this? Look at the size. Huge. Yep, that's a Volvo for you. And I still think the dashboard is beautiful. The waterfall dashboard. Yep, very nice. How's your coffee?
Yeah.
You like your coffee?
Yeah.
How come empty?
Yeah, it's gone.
I still have mine. Now you can take a sip.
No one.
Come lah, you treat me one what? This one.
No one.
Oi. I have my Cafe 21. Subscribe. Why you don't subscribe? Please? Please subscribe. Bye.